Dear parents and community, I'd like to introduce myself. I am a parent of a first grade girl at an elementary school within the Portland Public School District. This correspondence is not sent by Portland Public Schools. This correspondence is parent to parent, person to person, and citizen to citizen. This is a very long story, yet an important one for parents of students within the Portland Public Schools system. I want to inform you of an incident that occurred on January 30th, 2014, involving a first grade girl and a custodian alone in the bathroom on the main floor of the school. Witnessing this occurrence brought up a lot of questions regarding safety, administrative responsibilities, and policies within all of Portland Public Schools. Next, I will give you a detailed description of what I witnessed on Thursday afternoon, January 30th, 2014. On January 30th at 1:30 p.m., I arrived early to pick up my daughter from school for a doctor's appointment. When I walked to my daughter's classroom to pick her up, I noticed the daytime custodian standing outside the girls' bathroom on the first floor. He propped open the door and asked the girls to finish up so he could enter. He held the door open and waited about 1 minute until two first grade girls ran out of the restroom to their classrooms next door. He walked into the restroom, allowing the door to shut behind him. He did not make any verbal cues to see if there were any other girls left in the restroom before entering. Nor did he put up a sign to let other children know that he was in the restroom. I was confused to see this occur, assuming the proper protocol would be to keep the door propped open and post a sign to let other children know the restroom was being serviced. A couple minutes later, I observed a third girl come out of the bathroom and run into the classroom next door, and the custodian walked out behind her. This all occurred at 1:35 p.m. before the home time bell. I felt disturbed that any school staff would be one-on-one behind closed doors with a student in a private place such as a restroom. In this case, female first grader with male staff member. I did not understand why he did not exit the restroom as soon as he was aware that there was a student still present. Immediately, I informed the vice principal and the principal's secretary of my observation on January 30th. At this time, the vice principal responded by saying all she could do was talk to the custodian and tell him he must wait to enter the bathroom until all students have exited. I reiterated to the vice principal that the custodian entered and remained in the restroom when female student was present. As a parent, I wanted to be reassured of the safety and the privacy of our children in the restroom. I wanted to know this was unacceptable behavior and practice, and that the administration would not allow this to occur again, and that they would check up on the first grade girl that was just in the bathroom. After I left the vice principal's office, I realized that she did not assure me that she would check up on the first grade girl. So I went back to the vice principal's office, and she was not there. As a result, I proceeded to the classroom where I saw the first grade girl run into after leaving the restroom with male staff. It was now about 20 minutes before the home time bell, and the teacher was assisting students with worksheets when I knocked on the door and entered the classroom. She came up to my children and me, and I introduced myself and asked her if I could speak to her for a moment about the incident I had just witnessed and reported to the vice principal. She said yes and listened. I told her what I had witnessed. She looked down at the bathroom sign-out sheet near the door, which the children are required to sign their name on when they leave the restroom, leave the classroom for the restroom, or a drink of water. I asked her to please find which student was in the restroom just recently and make sure she was all right. I was concerned about the little girl. I was concerned that she was possibly feeling scared or confused about a male being in the girls' restroom, and in worst-case situation harmed in some way. I did not know what happened behind the closed doors, of the restroom, and I believed that PPS had a procedure in place to properly investigate a situation like this. At the same time, I did not believe it was acceptable practice to service a student's restroom without the door propped open and a sign indicating the restroom was being serviced. Over the weekend, I wrote a letter to the administration explaining what I had witnessed, and I asked 4 clear questions regarding policy and procedure. The letter focused on policy. However, I stated my concerns about the incident and the unease I felt. At this point, I believed the administration and the staff would take proper steps in following up with the first grade girl and what was required by PPS protocol in this situation. I gave the letter to the vice principal and principal on Monday morning, February 3rd. On Tuesday morning, February 4th, I was volunteering in my daughter's class, and I was making copies in the copy room when the teacher I reported the January 30th incident walked in. I proceeded to ask her if she found out who the girl was that was alone in the bathroom with male staff member and if she was okay. She proceeded to say she did not know and she did not think the student was in her classroom. I then asked her if she then reported the incident to the adjoining teacher's room next door to find out if the female student went into that classroom. She said no. I then asked her if the vice principal had checked in with the other teacher about the student. She said, I don't know. As a result, after school, I went to the adjoining teacher's classroom and introduced myself because she was not my daughter's teacher. I asked her if she was aware of the incident that occurred last Thursday. She said, with the boys? I replied, no, with the girls. I continued to tell her the story and what I witnessed on January 30th. The teacher was very concerned. She began to show me pictures of the girls on the wall in her classroom. I told her I was not able to identify the girl, but reported it immediately in hopes that the administration would properly check up on the girl. I asked the teacher if she had the bathroom log from this past Thursday, January 30th, and she said no, and that she only keeps the bathroom log sheets if there is an incident on that particular day. Then she keeps them for her records. But in this case, she was unaware of this incident, so she did not keep her log. The teacher apologized and said, I'm sorry, I cannot help. I then left her classroom feeling worried and concerned for the mishandling of this situation. The next day I received 2 letters from the administration attempting to bully and intimidate me. The first letter began by stating the male employee's name and that he is very concerned of my reporting of an incident that he states is different than as I reported. The letter continues by saying, quote, he states he never goes into a bathroom when a child is in stall, boy or girl. He waited as it had been reported to him as a problem. When he went in, he picked up paper towels. The girl was finishing washing her hands as reported to him and left before he was done. And he left shortly, too, so no sign was necessary. The letter continues to say, quote, based on the custodian's explanation and their experiences, they find him to be a trusted and reliable adult who has never been appropriate with children. They said they do not feel this incident warrants a change in how he does his work at our school or further investigation. The next letter from the principal also did not address our questions regarding policy. It only attempted to intimidate us and redirect the situation. Principal stated in her letter to me to not take it upon myself to further investigate a situation I already reported to the administration. However, as a parent, I was concerned about the student and was not assured by the staff and the administration that they were properly handling this incident. I knew if it was my child that was alone in the bathroom with a staff member of the opposite sex particularly, I would want to know about it and know that the school checked in with the student and their well-being and made a proper report. I did not experience this with this administration. I did not believe that based on a staff member's character or seniority, they could be exempt from a proper investigation and policy regarding such an incident, especially when the report by the PPS staff member was different than the report I had given. This prompted my family to request again a meeting with the administration to further discuss this incident. They did not respond to our request. They ignored us. As a result, I began to follow PPS Policy 4.50.030 Parent Complaint Procedure, which led me to write a letter to the regional administrator and request a meeting. I wanted to inform him of the mishandling of this incident and be assured this would not occur again. My family hoped to get clarity on policies regarding two very important procedures in Portland Public Schools from the regional administrator. First was a request for clear, written, documented procedure on custodial practices in PPS when servicing a child's restroom during school hours. Second was a request for documentation of a written procedure on how a proper investigation, including an incident report, is conducted when a student is alone with a PPS staff member in a private setting like a bathroom, where abuse could have occurred, and the person making the report is concerned of the child's well-being. Finally, on Tuesday, March 11th, Regional Administrator met with us in a meeting and agreed that the administration at our daughter's school did not handle this incident appropriately. They failed to promptly and properly investigate, wrote inappropriate letters to us, and failed to meet with us, stonewalled us, and used borderline intimidation tactics against us. However, in his written document to us, required by the complaint process and our request, he wrote a letter to us that mischaracterized and misreported our concerns. He did not follow through on his verbal promises to us, which included ensuring that systems would be in place that would not allow this situation to happen again and would hold relevant parties accountable. As a result, we filed a Level 3 complaint with the superintendent. The superintendent ignored all of our letters. We sent 4 separate letters through the month of April informing her of the mishandling and misrepresentation of the incident on January 30th. In addition, we requested written policy on the 2 procedures I stated above, and I received no response from the superintendent. Finally, on May 1st, I received a correspondence from Superintendent's Senior Advisor that said the parent-student complaint policy cannot be used to address personnel or HR-related matters. She goes on to say that they are reviewing bathroom cleaning procedures, but again find no wrongdoing in this instance. So my family replies by saying, we find this to be a safety matter within Portland Public Schools. And, in fact, school board chair member specifically informs parents that they are to go to the superintendent's office for complaints regarding specific staff members and personnel issues. She gives this direction in the beginning of each school board meeting. In our case, we have made repeated requests for policy clarification regarding procedures within Portland Public Schools. These must be available for parents, and I have not received any information on policy to date. Now, at this point in my process, it had been 13 weeks since the incident, and my family was very frustrated and disappointed with Portland Public Schools. We felt we could not continue with our daughter in a school district that ignores, misrepresents, and does not have policies in place that protect children and families from inappropriate and unsafe situations. As a result, we withdrew our daughter from Portland Public Schools on Thursday, May 1st. This decision was difficult because we value and appreciate the academics at this PPS school. We found the teachers and their magnet program to be amazing. However, we could not have our daughter in the Portland Public School District until we received clear policies in regards to these important matters. Then, on Monday, May 5th, 2014, I gave public testimony at the Portland Public School Board meeting. I stated my concerns about safety within Portland Public Schools. You can see this video at https://departments/tv-services-6442.htm. Again, that's www.pps.k12.or.us/departments/tv-services/6442.htm. After speaking in front of the school board, I received an email with some information regarding policy. Here is Superintendent Senior Advisor's follow-up to my testimony at the May 5th board meeting. Quote, "We have determined that custodians are trained on bathroom procedures in their annual training. These procedures are currently not in writing. We will be including these procedures in the custodial guidebook that is updated annually. We will also send out a memo to all custodians immediately reminding them of proper procedures." End quote. I was surprised to find out that there is no written policy on how a custodian is required to service the restroom during school hours. However, the letter from Superintendent Senior Advisor is movement in a positive direction. I am eager to see these custodial procedures in writing and in the custodial handbook. I have not received information on what are the required procedures in servicing the restroom during school hours. It is still unclear exactly what the procedures are currently. I would like to be ensured that the custodian would not enter the restroom when children are present, regardless of the child's whereabouts in the restroom, and that no exceptions are tolerated. In addition, we want to know that a sign will be posted if a custodian is going to service the restroom in any way for any period of time. I am informing you of this situation because your child, someone else's child, may have been in a situation like this or could possibly be in the future. Because PPS does not have any written procedures in place regarding this issue, there are inconsistencies on how procedures are followed within each Portland public school. In the case of this elementary school, I have already received communications stating, quote, "They do not feel this incident warrants a change in how the custodian does his work," end quote. And the PPS administration has stated, quote, "that they find that there was no wrongdoing in this instance," end quote. How can this be so? I witnessed the situation, and the custodian reported he was alone with the student in the restroom, with the door closed shut, no posted sign of servicing in front of the restroom. As a parent of a student in Portland Public Schools and or a community member, do you find this acceptable? What can we do to support our children, ensuring that their learning environment is motivating and safe? Are we willing to open up dialogue about situations like this and offer tools to know how to handle the situation if it arises? I believe it is important to remember not only that our children go to school to learn academics, but also to learn appropriate boundaries so they can be prepared for their future. Each student has a voice and rights. According to the Department of Education, OAR 581-022-1020, State Goals for Elementary and Secondary Education, Oregon Systems of K-12, education plays a key role in preparing students to function effectively in a rapidly changing world. To successfully prepare students for the future they choose to pursue, the State Board of Education identifies the following goals for Oregon's K-12 educational system. Quote, to ensure that all Oregon students, regardless of linguistic background, culture, race, gender, capability, or geographic location, have access to a quality education in a safe, motivating environment. End quote. My belief is that it is the school district's responsibility to make sure structures are in place which support a student's well-being. We need Portland Public Schools to enforce and implement policies and procedures that protect children and support healthy and appropriate boundaries in the school environment. Do you believe PPS is providing a safe environment? What are we willing to do as parents, as people? I would like to see PPS follow through on policies in regards to the proper protocol in servicing a child's restroom during school hours. In addition, I would like to see PPS provide written procedure on how a proper investigation is conducted when a student is alone in a private setting like a restroom with an adult, particularly of the opposite sex where abuse could have occurred. These important policies must be available to ensure students, parents, and staff are clear about the procedures and the appropriate steps to take if a situation as such arises. As we can see, there is still much more that must be clearly implemented. Currently, I am researching regulations by the Oregon Department of Education in regards to this matter. According to the Oregon Department of Education, OAR 581-22-1610, school districts shall keep copies of operating policies and procedures and rules, and shall make such information available upon request. In my family's case, we have requested policies from Portland Public Schools numerous of times, and policies have not been given. Why? The Portland Public School District services about 95,000 children. Some of these children will be in Portland Public School system for another decade. It is important that the administration assures that policies are clear and accessible. If policies do not exist in regards to these important matters, then they must be written. Let's stand together to secure a safe environment and future for all PPS students. Thank you so much for your time and listening to this. I realize this is a lot of information and there is still so much that has occurred within the past 4 months since the incident occurred. I appreciate your time. Thank you.